Hi, I'm Jamille Horne, and we are honored and privileged to be in the presence of Mrs. Minnie Lee. She has graciously consented to share a few moments of the past years that the world has been blessed with her very presence. Mrs. Lee, when you were born, where was your birthplace?
North Carolina, Scotland Lake, North Carolina.
Scotland Lake, North Carolina?
Yes.
Okay. And when were you born?
In 1894.
1894?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, what do you think made it possible for you to live for such a long time?
Well, I first was a very delicate child among the 5 girls and 2 boys, 2 children. I suppose I had quite a lot of care because I was very delicate and I couldn't bear noise and I couldn't bear anything if they had to wake me up early and call my name loud or shake me. I would possibly fall out or faint, something like that. So they had to be very quiet, very careful. And that went on for many years. And of course that required a lots of care from the family. So as I grew older, I couldn't tell when the change came, but it did come by being careful, my mother and father and sisters and brothers, being careful. And after I grew up, I can't tell you just how many years, but anyhow, I started to go into Sunday school. And I remember very well my brother would take me, not in his arm, but by the hand. And when the crowd got there, he possibly sometimes had to bring me back home because of the noise. And that went on for quite a while. And then I grew out of that with great determination, not wanting to be a pet or baby child like that. I didn't like that. I like to be on my own. And so it is today. And I began to teach Sunday school. I began to sew. I began to visit the sick. And when I had a funeral, sometimes I began to ask if there's anything that I could do. And they would, which is always something at a funeral when they have death in the family. And they said I have some clothes that I've outgrown or I had lost weight, and I'd take them. I remember for that funeral, I made a dress for, I know her name, can't call her right now, for this lady. What you call this dress? A shroud.
The trousers?
Yeah. I made it for her. I can see her, but I can't call her name right now. And then that went on, and I helped people so many times when they're in distress. And I would revalidate the dresses. If they were too short, tight, I let them out. If they had grown out of that piece of material, I'd take it in. And so when I bring it back to them, they say, I would say to them, Mrs. Harris, or what her name was, she would say to me, Mrs. Lee, how much do I owe you? I said, well, of course, nothing. I was glad to help you. And that was my work at a very early age. Being a young girl, young woman, I guess I was growing up the world then. And that's the life. And of course, my mother didn't allow us to go to dances in those days. And if we went to a party, we would have to have a chaperone. And that's what we expected, this party. And a kiss was the greatest thing that had to be in the eyesight of everybody else.
Wow.
So my life was made happy by making other people happy. And so it is today. I'm most happy when I can help somebody else.
So how were young ladies expected to act then?
Well, we have parties and chaperones. I can see the lady that was our chaperone. And we would go to church, Sunday school, morning church, and whatever they had in the afternoon. We weren't allowed to go to dances. And another thing, we used to take long walks. But we weren't allowed to just take walks with what you might call today a fiancé. We had to have a group, the group of young people together. And then, believe me, you had to come back together. We would take walks. We had along the train that ran in the back railroad called George Smith. And of course, you wouldn't know, not a man in here nor a woman would never know that anything about that train because you weren't born. And we would walk, the elevated train track was, and you could go down the side and walk on those on those, what do you call them, James? They, like logs, because water runs under there. And we would step from one to the other. And that's what we would do, but time for that train to come at 4 o'clock. And then we would get to the other side. I don't know what we would have done if the train had fell off, but it didn't. So then we'd come back on the railroad track and throw stones and pick flowers and do all those kind of childish things. But we weren't allowed to just go with the boy.
Right.
Yeah.
But you still had fun.
We had lots of fun.
Really?
We had lots of fun. And by the way, my mother would say, be back before sundown.
Really?
I remember very well one day that we forgot. And you know how the sun going down like that. Oh my gracious, we looked up, and believe me, tell me, as a group of young people didn't run. They weren't going to their home, but they were taking us home. So when we got there, the sun set. My mother didn't have anything to say because we were there just a little before sundown. But you know, I appreciate those days.
Really?
Yeah, I appreciate those days. It learned me so much. And to be out at night, to a dance, staying out part of the night, we weren't allowed to do that. And I guess that's part of our health, or my health, that I got plenty of rest. Of course, I had to because of my health. And today, trying to serve the Lord, I think that's the best part of our health, serving Him and giving Him the best portion of our health, and then loving one another, do good for others rather than for yourself. Yeah, thinking of others. And if you happen to make a mistake, as one girl I was talking to the other day, said, if I think I've hurt somebody, I'll go to that part and say it and straighten it out. And then the thing's all clear. Or else you can't sleep at night. And I know that's true even today. When I get out among people, I talk and maybe they bring up a conversation that I don't approve of, and I put my word in. And then I go to bed at night and I think about what did I say? And it worries me until I come to the place that I could somehow through prayer worry off and feel that, well, I didn't mean that, or I didn't say that. The person with her load in her little red cart was the one that said it, and I was only the listener. So that causes a lot of thought to be with a group and guide your tongue, because it can come out like that, you know.
So do you have a favorite Bible verse?
Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Not me, but Jesus. For my yoke is easy, and my burden's light. I, Jesus says, will give you rest. Not man can't give the heart rest, but only Jesus Christ can give you rest. So he says, I am meek. That's the part that touches me. I am meek. Imagine the king of earth that made the whole world come to me and say, I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your soul. I repeat this, I got to it before. For I am meek and lowly, and you shall have rest unto your soul.
It's very beautiful. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you?
Oh, it means a great deal, because as the time comes that there's no one can give you that real rest and comfort, because he understands and he knows. Right. He knows just what you meant more than somebody else knows. He knows the heart. He knows it, and he knows you want to do the right thing. And that's why he says, come to me, and I will teach you.
Do you have a favorite hymn?
Yeah. Blessed assurance. Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine. Heralds of salvation, precious of God, born of the Spirit, washed in His blood.
Well, if you were given the chance to start your life over again, what would you do differently?
Oh, I'd do everything double.
Double?
I would try at least.
Mm-hmm. What message would you like to give to the young people of today?
This message was that Christ gave to his disciples when he led them up to Bethany, to the mount, getting ready to ascend back to heaven. He said, love ye one another as I have loved you. And you know what he did? He gave everything. Give his life in the most cruel way. He don't mean for you to be crucified on the cross like he was, but in so many ways, same thing. Love each one another as I have loved you. And you know, when you love people, you won't do them any harm. You'll always try to do them good.
What was was your highest education level?
Well, my mother taught me, and of course during my young age, I wasn't well enough to be from home. She would teach us, and Sunday school teacher. And then I went to high school after I grew up. And really, I had so much, I don't know where I got it from, I had so much knowledge of what the teacher was trying to tell me that I sometimes think I thought she thought that I was trying to go ahead of her, show her or teach her, because I went to a school that taught dressmaking, my early life, and then I went up to a higher school and taught and took lessons, and that's how. And my mother was a seamstress, and that's how I learned to be professional. And I never had to put out a sign, and I always had a lot of people coming to my home after I grew up. And I had a big sewing room, and my sewing room was never empty.
Never empty.
No. I think that was my calling.
Oh, really? Sewing?
Sewing anything you could bring to me, I could make old things new. Mm-hmm. And I love that because I was helping somebody.
Wow. This is Jamille Horne and Miss Minnie Lee, and I would like to thank you.
You missed some persons.
Oh.
Maybe out of jail.
Others first.
Let me see.
Others must be first.
Did you speak of that one?
I said that.
You did that, sir? Oh, you did? I didn't realize. Okay, I didn't hear it. I see. Okay. I didn't hear that. You got to finish some smoothly. Okay, well, you can, I'll give you a 5 count. You can kill it. Okay? Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay, this is Jamille Horne with Miss Minnie Lee, and I would just like to thank you for speaking today. And everybody have a great day.
I'm going to have to do a cutaway now. You face her so I can look towards her. See, what I'll have to do is, go ahead, look towards her. And what I'll do, okay. And what I'll do is insert that in my ear. This is a lot shorter than I expected. Is there anything else you want to shoot your fat about?
Excuse me?
I didn't limit you to speak now. You can speak about I didn't give you something that to say you can't discuss it. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, how did you dress back then? The dress, how did you dress? Was it like really different from the way it is now? No.
I don't think we dress with skirts. It's,
You didn't really wear a lot of pants or dungarees?
Oh no, pants?
Yeah.
Oh no, that was unheard.
Oh, really?
We had dresses below our knees.
Oh.
Yeah. Dresses below our knees. And my mother wore dresses below her ankle. So, of course, if you were to come around and see us with our dresses halfway our thighs, you said, oh my gracious, where did she come from?
Wow. Even in the wintertime, it was cold. When it was cold, even in the winter, when it was cold, you still had to wear skirts?
Oh, no, we're woolen skirts.
Oh.
Warm skirts.
Okay.
Yeah. But she would see to that. And underwear.
So, I don't know, food, basically the same. The food?
Oh, well, we had very good food, and I guess that's one of the reasons I'm so short today, because I wasn't made to eat anything that I didn't want, and I think that's been bad for me.
Oh, really?
Because it makes me today just feel anything. Sometimes I don't even taste it, doesn't look sweet. I think I should have been made to eat something.
Did you like a lot of vegetables? Did you eat a lot of meat?
I wasn't so particular about a whole lot of meat, but I like vegetables and fruits. In fact, I didn't care for food, period.
Oh, really?
I guess that's why I'm so skinny.
Did you play any sports?
I played ball, and I took music lessons too.
What did you do? What did you play? What music?
Hymns, and my first piano lesson was, what was that? What was it? Soft is the voice of the angel. What is the beginning of it?
Softly and tenderly?
Whisper and hope.
Whisper and hope.
You don't remember that. You weren't even here. Whisper and hope. These fellas probably remember. Yes, that's so. That was my first piano. Soft is the voice of an angel. And then go on to Whisper and Hope was the chorus of it. And I learned quite a few pieces, and I recited too some. And I did a lot of little things to keep myself able to cope if I should be called on.
So how many brothers and sisters did you have?
5 brothers, 5 sisters, and 2 brothers. Mamie, Maud, Lily, Lena, Minnie, and did I call 5? And my brother was Paul and John.
Oh.
My brother was a plumber. My youngest brother was a plumber, and my brother, what was he? Carpenter. Mm-hmm.
So, did you get along with all your brothers and sisters?
Oh yes, yeah. They want to make me a baby girl, and I didn't like it. I didn't want to be. I wanted to stand on my own feet.
Right.
And I'm the same way today.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They wanted, people in those days would talk baby talk too, and I didn't like that at all. And no, I wanted to be grown up, even though I was dependent on them.
Okay, did you ask her about the way of social graces we taught the young ladies, how they should walk?
The way the women had to walk, carry themselves. How did the women the young girls have to carry themselves? How are they expected to act?
Well, they was taught to be very modest and to wear my clothes that was modest. They wouldn't wear dresses above their knees. And
how about the men? How are they expected to treat women?
With a great respect. And if they didn't, they weren't allowed to come to our house if they weren't respectable fellows. And when the time come for them to go, we wouldn't have to say anything. You know what happened? You could hear my mother scraping on the floor in the room, in the next room, walking around, closing the door. Then we just say, it's time to go. Oh, they had all their signs. They had many signs.
So what was the average age ladies got married?
I really can't remember just pointed. They had to be, some would marry 18, and some had jobs that they could occupy themselves. They married around 20 if they have looking forward to a home and a family. Around 20, 19 or 20 in that era.
Did you, while growing up, ever experience any major racism? Did you ever experience any major racism?
Well, not really. And being in the South, I hardly knew because we seemed to be relatives of some of the white people, that we could go to their house and they could come to our house. But I think just like it is today, we always experience some racial, but not too much for me to know that they would say nigger or something like that. I know there was a family that he'd come to our house and we would go to their house. I can't remember all those things. But as far as I can remember, North Carolina, Scarlet Neck, North Carolina was quite a nice get-together among white and color.
But they didn't go to school. Did they go to school together then?
Yeah.
They did?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't remember. I don't think so either. No, that had to be moved up a long ways up.
One other thing, remember I mentioned that the ladies were taught to walk in a certain way in those days. I think they call it strutting.
Yeah, were the ladies taught to walk? Were the ladies taught to walk in a certain way, like strutting or whatever? They taught strutting.
They mean
walking or switching. Were they taught to walk in a certain kind of way?
I imagine so. I think I had some sisters would do that. My sister Mamie, the oldest girl, I think, she was kind of like that. Yeah. But in a very mild way, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I think she did. And my sister Lily also, because she cared a whole lot for herself. You've seen people like that, haven't you? That now, this is me.
What about the dances back then? Are they like the same now? Some of the dances now?
No. Oh, maybe a waltz or something like that. But we weren't allowed to go to dances. We weren't allowed to. We belonged to the church. We weren't allowed to dance. And I don't think any of our family was allowed by my parents, my mother, to go to these dances, you know, and stay half the night. I don't think so. I know I didn't go. I can vouch for myself, and I don't think they do.
Jamille Horne with Miss Minnie. Okay. Okay. Excuse me. This has been Jamille Horne with Miss Minnie Lee signing off and saying thank you and thank you.
That's right. I'll leave it up for a while. Kill the sound. Yep.
That's his fourth son. But I didn't think of it right then. So.
You guys continue your conversation. I'll put up some stuff there.
You said that your husband adopted James Austin as your third son?
Not as by law, but he came from the South, from Virginia, and he stayed at our house. He stayed at somebody else's house, but he came and stayed to our house. And we had, my husband had 3 sons, Thomas and Arthur and Philip, Thomas, Philip, and Arthur. And when James came up, and Reverend Lee said to him, now I have 4 sons. And don't let anybody bother James Austin. No, he didn't want anybody to touch James Austin. If he's right up and wrong. And so he's been very close. He's been like a son. And this girl over here has been like my daughter. Both of them. Both of them all along life's highway since he'd been married to Gladys, and both has been, it couldn't have been any better to me if they had been my own birth, by birth, and still is. You don't find that too much outside of the family, and neither on the inside of the family. Closeness. Yeah.
You might want to ask her who she meet was famous, other than herself.
Did you ever meet anybody famous?
Yes, plenty of people famous. I met them, and I'm trying to think of Marian Anderson. Marian Anderson and Pearl Bailey. Pearl Bailey. And one man that, a preacher, when I was a girl, I can't think of his name, but I remember him singing. We lived in the town, and it was a church named Kehiku. You ever heard of such a name? No. Well, I've seen it in the paper up here, and he was brought up in the country. And finally, he went to Washington. And I imagine, I can't remember everything because I was quite young then. And he went to Washington and got his education. And then evidently he must have been called to a church in Washington. And he would come back every, like preachers used to have 2 churches. You probably could remember some of that. 2 churches. And some of them had 3. And they would alternate each Sunday. Well, this minister, he went to Washington, and he could sing. And I remembered him singing. I can't remember all the words, but some of the words came to me. Yes, he will. Oh, yes, he will. All his promises are true. He will keep his word with you. Yes, he will. And that came to me one night at my bed, and it says, when he comes, he will gather all around him. And in his march, and he come and gather all together and come down to earth again, just like he did once before. And yes, he will. And I'm still working on that song, trying to get words to fit in, that to just let people know that Jesus will keep his word. You don't have to worry about it, you don't have to doubt it. But still we doubt. Still we doubt.
How do you feel, do you believe, but how do you feel about the world today, like the changes and everything that's been happening?
I think it's awful, somewhat awful. I think it's terrible. And people are making gods of their own and following them. And then, do you remember this 36 fellows that were killed? I think it was 35 or 36. We found them in a room, all dead, and they had this leader calling him Jesus.
David Koresh.
Yeah, you remember that. Yeah, well, that's what they'll do for them, because that's as far as they can go.
Right.
Yeah, but Jesus, if he makes a promise, he'll keep it. He always leads you in the right way. Because man can't do it.
Right.
Can't do it. No man can save you, nor me. They can only have to lead you towards him by talking and preaching and singing, but to do it himself is one man only can do it. Who is that? Jesus Christ. The only Savior. The only Savior.
What would you say to the young people? What would you say to the young people today to try to get them to believe?
The Bible.
The Bible.
The Bible. The Bible is true. And then try to live the life before them. Live that life before them. Not spending your money on the dope and not being yourself. I saw a young fellow. I was in the hospital. I don't know whether I was visiting or what, but anyhow. He came in and he's so full of dope. He thought he was a bird flying. He's just doing this like this. And by the way, he had a white girlfriend. And she was kind of embarrassing. She was following him. She wouldn't get too close of him, but she was following him, and he thought he was a bird. I don't know if she did. His eyes was weak, and that's it. And that's what it does to you. And when they get out of themselves, if they kill you, you don't even know it. So it's best not to bother with dope. Makes you do things that you wouldn't do. Yeah. And try to remember this word, do the right thing. Do the right thing by others. That's what Christ said when he's getting ready to leave Mount Olive. Love one another. Because love hides a multitude of faults. I don't mean for you, but if I mistreat you, before you take the gun and shoot me, you think about his multitude of fault, and you were trying to help that person instead of yourself. Love each one another. And I always make this statement that you seen a little boy or a little girl with a little red wagon? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they pull that little red wagon and they pick up things and put it in and sometimes depending on the right thing. And I says, everybody puts their little bad or good in that red wagon. And when I'm mad with you because you did me wrong, maybe took some of my things, I'm not responsible. You are responsible for what you put in your red wagon. So you shouldn't carry evil in your heart, because I shouldn't carry evil in my heart because you mistreated me, because that's your red wagon. Yep, and you have to give an account. You know, I've seen people get angry with people, people who speak to them. I've seen a lady who belonged to the church. She's a mother of the church, and she was coming down one side, and this little one going this side. When she got there, she turned her head, said I wouldn't even speak to her. Well, now that's not her business. That's not her prerogative. That person gonna have to give an account for that. Whatever I do to you is wrong. It's my prerogative. So you should go on loving me. It won't be easy. Loving me just the same, because you don't have anything to do with it unless you caused it. Don't forget that. Because there's so much in this world that you meet up with people so unfair and treat you so dirty, and then you hate them. But don't do it. Don't do it. Don't you hate them. That's their business. They have to give an account to God for it. He says I love them. Love ye one another. That's what he did. That's why he tells you, if you read your Bible, you'll find out that he's saying the things that he had done already. He said, Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they do. When they did crucify him, pray for them. Feet, hand, side. Forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do. And they didn't, because they didn't realize that they were crucifying the King of Glory. Some of them knew it, but some of them didn't. Those that was mean didn't believe that he was the Christ, but he was, and he prayed for them. That's like a Christian. A lot of people mistreat Christians and don't know what you know. Yeah. Yep, but they have to give an account for it. And it's a technical life, but it's worth it. It's worth it. You might live 104. You. Well, you don't know, because I didn't know. The man came around selling some bonds after the war was over, you know. And I don't know how old I was then, but he says, and you'll get a return after the war. And I said, oh man, I'll be dead before then. That was before I left home. And I'm 103.
That's nice. It is. I only hope, pray once again, this is Jamille Horne with Mrs. Minnie Lee. Thank you.
Let me get some shots of try to remember the name now. I want to get some shots of you looking toward in that direction. You had a very studious look on your face and you had your hand on your chin or something like that. Right, there you go. See, I can insert it. Okay, let me get over here to James. And you want to look real intelligent too. Okay, well, you want to look over in that direction. Right. Okay, that's a wrap.